Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a QR code. I will give you the notebook so that you can follow the instruction and do your own QR code. Well, I have provided a bit of information about what is a QR code. QR stands for quick response. It was invented by a Japanese engineer, and I will let you read that by yourself. My objective here is actually to show you how to create a QR code to the color of the University of Ottawa. And the QR code will, if you take your phone, okay, this QR code will direct you to the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs. Okay, maybe let me click on that to show you also the action here on this part of the panel. You can see that I have uploaded several files to my Google Colab environment. So by now you should know what that means or how to do it. Of course, if you want to check whether the QR code functions correctly, you really need to make sure that you see the whole QR code before linking your phone to the page. Okay, if you miss some information because the QR code is like too big like that, it will not function, right? You really need to adjust the page in one way or another in your computer to make sure that you see the whole QR code. So let me show you how to do that, okay? Always the same thing, okay? You need to install a library, which is QR code. Here it's very simple, pip install QR code. And you need to import it. As I already said before, you always need to do that unless some of those libraries have been pre-installed into your Google environment. When you go to Google Colab, they have installed a lot of libraries already. That's why sometimes you see that, or you hear me telling me, well, it has been installed previously in your Google Colab environment, and you don't need to install it. Okay, but here it's not a very important library, so you need to install it. So it's always the same thing. Under exclamation point, pip install, and then the name of the library. And then you need to import it. So to say to Python, now we are going to work with this library per se. And look how easy it is to make a QR code. Okay, so basically, you see that's the name of the library. Here, I didn't provide any alias. So when you invoke or when you say to Python, I want you to work with QR code, you still need to put the name here, QR code. And the .make is basically a function. In Python, there are different names like functions and method, and you are going to be confused with that thing, and that's not what I want to teach you. Here, strictly speaking, it's a function. Make is a function. See, actually, if you highlight this thing here, actually you get a pop-up window which tell you that it's a function. It's written here. But anyway, so basically you call the library and you use the .make function and you pass a specific argument. What you pass is basically the website that you want to link to your QR code. Here, that's the URL of our school. So, and you have to put it in between quotation marks. Well, I'm gonna call this thing here EMG underscore QR0. So this is a new variable that includes this information if you want. And then when I do that, I can also, save this new object. It's an object actually, and call it Graded School of Public and International Affairs .png. So if I run, so let me make sure that I run this thing. So because I just ran it before, it tells me requirement already satisfied. Okay, but in your case, the first time you do it, you are going to see, well, installation of QR code version something. Okay, and then I need to import it. And then if I click on that, you will see immediately here that something will be created. I can, as I explained before, I can refresh this thing. And you see that actually a QR code has been created. I can, you can download it on your computer and open it. It will be downloaded immediately into your download, and that's your QR code. And if you take your phone, you should be able to connect to the website of the Graded School of Public and International Affairs. Okay, so let me close this thing and come back to, of course, sometimes instead of, downloading the QR code, you may simply say, write a function display the object that you just created, the EMG. That's a name. I could have called it Patrick. Okay, but I have written EMG for image, I guess, and QR0 for QR code 0. Okay, and you can write this thing here, display, and see it is displayed here in your notebook. Okay, instead of going here and then download it into your computer. But if you want to save it to your computer, you really need to have this line. When you see things like that, because it's the start of your manipulation in Python, I fully understand that many of these things are unclear. Okay, but you have to test a bit yourself to see what do I control exactly. Here, well, basically the only thing that you control in this cell is basically the address of that you want to link to the QR code. And clearly, if you at this stage, if you wanted to practice yourself, the only thing that you could change is actually, I don't know if you have a video on YouTube that you like. You can put the address of YouTube of that YouTube video, and then do the same thing. And here you would have to change. You would say YouTube video.png. And then you don't need to change anything else, and you would create the a QR code which links to the video on YouTube, or you can I don't know, I guess that you could create a QR code with your LinkedIn profile. Okay, LinkedIn, this is the professional social network, and you can put your the URL of your own profile, and then call it LinkedIn, my LinkedIn .png, and then you would be able to create a QR code with your and when you open your phone or the camera of your phone, it will direct you to the to your profile on LinkedIn, for example. Now let's go a little bit further. One of the problems that you get with those QR codes is that they all look the same. So eventually you have no clue of, without using your phone, you have no clue about where this QR code will link you. Okay, so there's a more advanced usage, and you can read here. If you click on this thing here, you are going to go to the original documentation of that library. So if I click on this thing, it tells me, okay, well, this is the library QR code. It's version 7.4.2. How to install that? You need to type pip install QR code, and then they give you some information about what is a QR code, the usage, and basically, see, you have an advanced usage and some explanation. So I'm not gonna go into all the explanations that you can read by yourself. Actually, I copy paste some of those explanations. Yeah, okay, but the fact is that instead of writing as we did here, QR code.make and then pass the URL of our school, okay, we are going to use something a bit more complicated here. Actually, this is called a class constructor, which means that we are going to build an object. Here you can see it's QR code dot QR capital letters code. So you don't need to change anything from this cell, okay? But this thing here is what will create a more sophisticated QR code, okay? And you have some instruction here, some code line, like here, this is the most important one, okay? You can see that actually, when you have a QR code you have it printed on a page of paper, for example. Sometimes, if you put that in your pocket and then you reopen it, like the camera may have some problem to read it. And you can create a QR code so that your camera is able to approximate what is the message coded in the QR code. And so basically, see here, I have used the error correct edge here. Okay, so it means that it will correct most of the error that are 30% of the error that the camera will detect. Okay, so that it will be able to read the QR code and direct you to the good website. And you can see there are all the parameters that have been passed here, like the border. Let me show you maybe. We are going to, well, let me create it first. And you will see what we are going to create. And let me display it. And see, I have created here a QR code that will direct you to the University of Ottawa. You can see here that in this line here, I have passed the website of or the URL link of our school. You can see here that I'm controlling for the color of those blocks. For example, you can see that I have chosen to fill the color with gray. So those boxes here are filled in gray instead of black. And the background color is dark red. So I have tried to imitate the color of the University of Ottawa. And of course, this is something that you can control. So for example, you could put, green instead of gray and violet instead of dark red. So those are reserved names for colors. You can try to experiment with, I don't know, other colors or other color names. Here you see border here in this line. Well, border is equal to 4 will give you, okay, the thickness of the border that you see here. So you can play with this thing and to have it bigger or smaller. So, I will let you discover by yourself to see what you can control and what you do not control. Of course, this name here, you don't control it. You cannot say borders. Okay, but this thing here, which is in green here, you control it. Okay, you can say, well, I would like to have a slightly bigger border. So if I put 10, if I run this thing again, and if I ask to display it, you see that the border is much bigger. And so I would advise you to see exactly what you can control in this cell to feel more comfortable. Okay, you can play with the box size. You can change this as well. You can put a L, but you will see that later on you may get problem if you put a L, because what I'm gonna do is to insert a logo here of the University of Ottawa, and you understand that if I put a logo for the University of Ottawa, I think that I have it here. But let me first come back to make sure that I'm coming back to the original. Okay. Eventually I think that I have it here. I'm gonna put a logo here. Okay, and you understand that the idea of the logo is to make the QR code personal. So now you know that it's a logo which will link to University of Ottawa. But the logo per se hide some important information on the QR code. And that's why you would need to have this function here, or this code line, which tells you, well, correct for possible mistakes, okay? And the logo is relatively small because if I have a logo which is too big, then your camera would never be able to read the QR code. So try to play a little bit with that cell in order to feel more comfortable again. What you see in red here, you can really play with that. Okay, so you can change the URL, you can change the color, and in general, I think with the color for your QR code to work, or for your camera to be able to detect the message in the QR code, probably you need to have the borders that you see should be in darker color, and this thing here should be in lighter color. Okay. So the background should be lighter and the box should be darker, but you can try to experiment here. Here actually I did the opposite, okay, but still I have checked my phone is able, my camera is able to open it. So maybe one of the things, okay, because I'm gonna superpose the logo of the university on this QR code, maybe one of the things that I need to explain you is what is that dimension of the QR code that we have in front of us. Okay, so basically here in this cell, I simply say, well, let's take this object that we have created. And see, we have created an object. Yeah. So make sure. So I have created an object QR, and then I have add some data to that object. And the data are actually the URL. This, you don't change this, okay? This thing goes with that thing. Don't change it to avoid mistakes, okay? But then with this QR code object that I created, I said, now, well, let's apply a specific function, make image, and let's choose some color for the background and for the modules per se. And I renamed this emg_qr1. Okay? And I have saved that object with this name. Okay, so when I click that, okay, you can see now that I have created in this panel. You can see this file, okay, which has been created. It's a PNG file. And so basically now I have this object, okay, which is basically what I have displayed here. I have displayed this object, and basically I can also ask Python, tell me, okay, what's the dimension of that object, okay? And so basically the dot size function will give me the size of that object for the x-axis and the y-axis, okay? And you see that if I print this, you see that it tells me, well, it's 530 by 530. So basically, maybe something which is very confusing is, well, the first number refers to the x-axis and the second number refers to the y-axis. And what it tells you is that there are 530 pixels. Pixel is picture element. This is the smallest unit in a image. And I will come back later on to what is a pixel in a picture, but for the time being, it's enough to say that it's the smallest element in a picture. And those pixels are aligned in this way. So you have the first one here, the second one here, and then, because we have 530 pixels in the picture, okay, actually you have 530 pixels aligned like that, okay? So see, I have put an image here. This is supposed to be this square that you see, and there are basically 530 pixels in the first row, and then there is a second row, and then in the last row, okay, you have also 530 pixels. Observe that for the x-axis, it goes from 0 to 530. And you can see here as well, it goes from 0 to 530. But for the y-axis, actually, usually, okay, when we read the y-axis, it goes from here to here. Okay, but here you can see that it goes in the opposite direction. So, the y in the y-axis, you are at 0 here, and then you go in that direction to go up to 530. It's very disorienting, but that's the way pictures are typically read by computers. So again, okay, pixels are means that there are 530 pixels in this direction and 530 pixels in this direction. So now what do I need? So let me make sure that I print this, okay? And now, okay, at this stage, I'm gonna try to basically overlay the logo of the University of Ottawa on that QR code. So I need to call a new library called PIL, P-I-L. Sometimes it's called Pillow, but this library is already installed in your Google Colab. So all what you need to say is that you are going to import it, and in particular, from that library, we are going to import the image module of that library, and that will help us to open some image. So, for example, here I have uploaded in my Google Colab some logo from the University of Ottawa. And, like if you go to that site here of University of Ottawa, you should be able to find some logos. Actually, before it was available for everybody, but now I see that it has been restricted to Ottawa faculty and staff. So I'm not sure exactly whether you can indeed got those logo image, but in any case, I will provide them to you in the on Brightspace. So I will give you those two files here. So so basically there are two type of logos that I have put. I'm gonna use the first one here, which is named UOttawa HOR. I think it's for horizontal logo. No, there is a vertical and horizontal logo. And so that's basically the name of this logo here. And so basically, in order to to see the logo on your Google Colab, that's first you have to open it. So you have to use the module image from the library pill, and you apply the method of the function .open, and you pass the name of that file, and you assign this expression to this. So now this will become an object. So that's Python jargon. Okay, that will become an object. And you can, now if I run this thing, let me make sure that I run it. If I run this thing, I have created an object which include that picture per se. So that now I can display it. You saw it before because I run this thing before. Let me close this so that you understand, so that you see the same thing. Okay, let me go back here. So now I can display the object that we just created. So I'm gonna run this thing here. And you see that, well, that's basically the logo of the University of Ottawa. But, one of the first things that we may ask ourselves, what's the dimension in terms of pixel of that logo? So I'm using the same trick as before. Okay, so this object here, I can apply a function dot size to get the first coordinate, so on the x-axis, and then the second dimension on the y-axis, dot size 1, and I can print that. And you see that the logo is, there are 1002 pixels along the x-axis and 268 pixels along the y-axis. And remember, okay, the QR code is actually 530 by 530. If I try to overlay this logo on my QR code, most of the QR code will be hidden. So I need to reduce the size of that logo. So basically, one of the functions that you can apply to an image is called the thumbnail. Okay, and thumbnail, I don't want to go into the details, but thumbnail will reduce the size of the logo and make sure that the logo keep the proportion of the logo is kept. Okay, you don't want to resize the logo by reducing the let's say the length of the logo, but not reducing proportionally the height of the logo. So thumbnail will help you to reduce the size of proportionally the size of the logo. So again, I'm applying to this object that we created, img logo. I'm applying the thumbnail function, and this tells you basically to reduce it to a smaller size. You can play with this number here, like you put 60 instead of 120, and you will see what it will give you. Actually, the length. Okay, I can show you what kind of size you will get here. So if I click on this, and then if I ask Python, tell me what is now the size of the logo. Is it still this thing? Okay, let's see. Okay, and it tells me now that actually the length will be 120, and the height of the logo will be 32 pixels. And if you divide this by that, you will see that it's exactly the same ratio of dividing this by that. Okay, so the proportion, the overall look of the logo will not change, just the size will be reduced. So now I can display it. I can display this object or this logo of reduced size, and you will see that indeed it is much smaller. And this is now this object that I want to overlay on my QR code. So I have this thing, I have this object. and I want to overlay the logo on this QR code. So basically, of course, there are different ways to overlay. I could, say, well, I want to have it here, or I want to have it here, or I want to have it here. Okay, it's your choice. Okay, but that also means that you really have to understand what the dimension of an image. Okay, as I have tried to explain to you using this. So basically, see here in this line here, it's a bit complicated, okay? And this is the position of the logo on this picture here, okay? And I have put some numbers in order to orient you towards the meaning of this line here. Look at here, okay? I have taken the size of the QR code. We have completed that before. We saw that it was 530. And we have computed before the size of the logo once we have applied the thumbnail function. And the size is now 120. And if you read that, you take your Excel or your calculator, if you subtract 530 from, or if you subtract 120 from 530, you are going to get 410, okay? And if you do the same here, okay, if you subtract 530, okay, go back here and you will see that's basically the information that we got. 530, this the size along the the y-axis of the QR code, 530. If you subtract the height of the logo, which is now 32, you get this number, 498. So the position that we try to impose for the logo on the QR code is position 410, which goes in that direction, and 498, which goes in that direction. And if you spend a bit of time to make sure that you understand that, if I'm adding from this position here, okay, if I'm adding 120 in that direction and 32 in that direction, which are the dimension of the logo that we have seen, then you will see that normally I will be able to overlay correctly the full logo, the full logo of reduced dimension on that original QR code. So let me just run. So this is just some basic mathematics. You subtract two numbers together in order to compute a position that should give you this thing here. Okay, so let me run that, and so let me run this. And see, you get that position here, 410, 498. So this is that point here, okay? And when you want to overlay the logo on the QR code, all what you have to say is the following, okay? You take the original object which represents the QR code that we have created before. If you are not sure why I'm calling that EMG QR1, you have to go back all the way in the program, and you will see that we have created here an object which is called emg.qr1, and this is that object that I have displayed here. And this is on that object that I want to overlay the logo of the University of Ottawa at that position here that we have computed. So let me show you what we do in order to overlay it. I simply invoke a function .paste on that QR code that we created before. And basically, I need to give the name of the object, of the new object that I want to overlay on the QR code. And this is the logo. And you can see here that I call that EMG underscore logo one. And this is basically this object that we have created before. Okay. And and basically I indicate as well here on which position I want to overlay the logo. So I simply have to run this thing, and I can now display this thing here, and you can see the logo of the US of Ottawa has been displayed in this corner. And I can save it. So all what you need to do now is you take again the name of that new object, which includes the logo. So that it's the QR code which includes the logo which has been inserted at the correct position. And I can simply apply a method or a function dot save to that object that we have created. And I can give it a name. So I have provided this name and saying, well, it has been inserted in position 1 that I have. So that's a name. You can put it. You can put it with your own name if you want. It's just arbitrary this thing. So if I run this, you will see eventually you will see a new file here that you can download onto your computer. You go here and you can click it, and it will be downloaded into your computer. And if I click on that, it will be here. And you can take your camera and then look at that. Try to see whether it directs you to the website of the University of Ottawa. Okay, so I will let you basically look by yourself at the rest of the notebook, so that the lecture is not too long. Really, what you need to understand is what do I control and what I do not control. You have all those cells that you have to run, and some of those things you control and some of those things you do not control. So spend a little bit of time in Teams to make sure that you realize that what you can control. Like you control the website, you control the color, you can play a bit with this box size and border to see what it does here. So see here, I'm simply, I'm creating a new QR code. Okay, and in that exercise, I want to position the QR code here instead of here. So you can, like I'm creating a new QR code. And basically here I'm opening a new logo, this one here, okay, which gives maybe slightly better logo. I can print the dimension of the logo, okay, and I call it now. I open using the image module of the PIL library. I'm opening this file here, so that's why you have this in quotation mark. And I assign this to a variable that I call EMG underscore logo 2. Okay, because it's a new logo, it's not the same as the one before. And you can see that the dimensions are the same. So if I want to overlay the QR code with the logo, I need to reduce the size of the logo, but I want to keep the proportion of the logo. That's what this line does. And you can play around. You can reduce it even further to 60 instead of 120 pixel of length. And you can now print the dimension. You see that it has been correctly reduced to 120 pixels over 32 pixels. So now you have something that you should be able to overlay on your QR code. And I created a new position here, position 2, and have a look at what I do here. Actually, if you want to have the center of the QR code, okay, because the QR code is of dimension 530, 530, the center would be around 245, 245. But if you put that as coordinate for the position of the center, most likely you are going to get something like, okay, like this is the center of that picture. Let me use. This is the center, but if you take that as the new position for your logo, the logo will look like that. So it will be a bit off center. So in order to make sure that you have it in the center, you really have to write your equation this way here. So you take the length of the QR code and the length of the logo, and you divide by 2. And you do the same here with the length of the height of the QR code and the height of the logo, and you divide by 2. Okay, if you do that, this is the so instead of being centered on 245, 245, just in the middle, you put it slightly off center so that eventually the logo will be exactly on the center of the QR code. But I mean, look at that. Okay, this if now I try to paste the logo, the new logo, on position 2 that we just created on the original QR code, this one here that I just created here. If I want to paste it, you will see that. Let me, I run it. So let me show you. It gives me an error. Okay, and it gives me an error because actually, when you work with Pixel, Python asks you to have an integer, so it doesn't want to have float numbers. And you see, every time you see a decimal .0, it means that Python interprets that as a decimal number, a float number. Okay, and in order to avoid this mistake, you will see that here, instead of dividing by 2, I put 2/ here. Okay, and instead of 1. Okay, and when you do that, Python essentially says, well, I want to take the closer integer to the division. So basically, this is called the division with reminder eliminated. Well, I mean, it's a bit technical, of course, but if I run that, the only thing which is changed here is, it's double division, okay? And if I print what is the position, you can see now that it interprets that as integer. There is no decimal, okay? It's 205, 249, and not 205.0, 249.0. So you need to know it, okay? But in a sense, okay, when you try to practice yourself, you just need to click on this cell, and you will get position 2, and then now you can pass the logo number 2. So this one, the one that we created through the image module, this thing here. And you can pass it you can pass that logo on the QR code at position 2. Okay, let me do that. And then you can now, okay, normally, okay, when you run it the first time, you will not see the picture below. So I'm going to display it. And now you have the logo of the University of Ottawa in the center of the QR code. And you can, so you can display this object, so this thing that we have created, or you can also save it on your computer. All what you need to do is you keep the name here of this thing here. That's what we have created, this object that we have created, and you can save it onto your computer, and you give it a name, and probably you want to give it a new name than the name that we provided before. So I have changed the name. You can call it the way you want, Patrick number 2 if you want. And I can do this, and it will be saved on your I can refresh this, and it will be saved here. Okay? And you can download that into your own computer. Okay, so it will be on your download, and that's this one probably that I just created just now. You can see the time here. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, so you can see here that I ask you to do some exercise. So I'm not gonna run this thing. Try to understand first this thing. So basically, when you receive a notebook like that, the first thing that you can do is simply to run each of those cells without trying to understand exactly what you do, and you are going to be able to recreate that. And then you go back and then you say, well, what do I really control on those cells? What do I really understand? Okay. Basically, as an exercise, now you should be able to do basically a QR code where you overlay this logo, but here, exactly here. Okay, so you should be able to do that. I'm not gonna, well, I can run this thing in front of you, but I'm not gonna explain it. See, I created the position 0, 0. And why is it 0, 0? That's basically the explanation I gave before. Okay, that actually 0, 0 is here. If you want to overlay the QR code in this position, the new position should be this one here at 0, 0. That's this picture. Try to explain it as well. I know it's not that simple to understand the first time you are given a coordinate in a picture, in a digital pictures. But then if you let me make sure that I'm not sure which cell I run before or not. So if it does not work, it's because I forgot to run some. Okay, so it works. Like as an exercise, why don't you try to put your pictures in the middle of the QR code? You say, well, I'm a student from University of Ottawa, and this is the website of the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs, and my picture is here. Okay, so so this time, no, I'm not gonna run it for you, but you can see that I have added my picture here, one picture and another picture here. So you can try that. Your turn. Try to create a QR code which links to a website, the website of your choice, and then try to overlay the logo of the University of Ottawa or your own pictures on this QR code. Okay, so that's all for the creation of QR code.